This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven Sun. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special Saturday morning edition of Phatts TV, the all sports edition. Joining me as always in the upper left-hand portion of the screen, the one, the only, from Phatts Studio B, non-genetically proven Sun. So you could blame him for us having to do a Saturday morning episode. He wanted to go make some money last night, apparently.
You getting audio through?
Yeah, I could hear me just fine.
Oh, well. My Xbox isn't playing it right then.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't hear you on YouTube.
Oh, that could be a problem. We may need to check that out.
Because I didn't hear the intro on YouTube either.
Really?
I heard you play it, and then you muted yourself.
Yes, I did, because I had it up, which made me think it was working properly. So I updated the software that we use for this, and there's always kinks in it. So let's see if it's working.
I heard you play it. My speaker's just not working.
Yeah, it's working just fine. I just brought it up myself, and it's working just fine. So I don't know what the hell you're doing. You must be hungover from you making money last night. So
watching sweaty men tussle on a mat.
Exactly. He went and danced with the Chippendales last night.
Watching sweaty men get pinned down on the mat.
Yep. Yeah. That turned you on a little?
Sure.
Yeah. You were pretty close. You're pretty close. You were like right at the mat.
Yeah, but there's still people in front of me, so I had a little bit of a leaning problem. And I had a lens problem last night.
Mm.
Since basically for about 5 hours yesterday, I stood in the rain. Photographing some cross country in a hurricane. So I've somehow had to photograph during both hurricanes this year. At least this one, it wasn't freezing, so it really wasn't that bad. I had a rain suit more prepared for this one and the last one. But some moisture got in the lens, and then when I went into a humid wrestling area, my hands were very warm, and whenever I put my hands on my lens, it fogged up my lens.
So why'd you put your hand on your lens?
I kind of need to zoom it to like zoom back and forth.
Oh.
Like not on the top of it, not like on the front, but like just on my dials.
Really? So that would fog it up, huh?
The heat of my hands was fogging up my lens.
Interesting.
So I had another lens, but it wasn't, good enough to really shoot wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But I had it just in case I had problems.
Mm-hmm.
So
Always good to have a spare.
But I just don't have the money to have more than one of the same lens like a lot of other people would.
Mm-hmm. Not yet, at least.
Yeah. I don't have another $600 to get a similar lens, so just in case something happens to that one, I have the same exact lens pretty much.
Yeah.
As a backup.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my long lens it was too long. I'm too close to the mat to really use it.
See that? You could have backed up.
There really wasn't anywhere to back up. Let's remember, Rec Hall gets full for wrestling. unlike volleyball or any other sport that goes on there. I mean, basketball wouldn't even sell out Rec Hall, probably.
Got ya.
There's probably about 7,000 people there for the home opener.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So, speaking of Penn State, they played a game last week against Indiana.
They did.
They pretty much did what they had to do.
Won.
Yeah, you were
in a very convincing fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just face it. Indiana's O-line might be worse than a high school line. Their line sucks.
Yeah.
Like, their quarterback was Tuttle, their starter, actually didn't do that bad. But when you can't give him any pass protection whatsoever, what do you want him to do?
Right.
And then he got drilled.
He did get drilled.
And then they put in another quarterback who did way worse. And they put in a third quarterback who really didn't do that bad.
Yeah.
But
you'll see
a lot of Drew Aller play.
You'll see that quarterback playing for UMass probably next year.
Probably. Or UConn.
No, UConn's got a third string quarterback already. Assuming he could come back from injury.
They do. It was their starter.
For about a play or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so, go ahead.
Got to see a lot of Drew Aller last week. He threw one dime of a pass on, I don't remember what receiver it was, right on the chest in tight coverage. It was a bullet. And I think right there shows everything you need to know about his talent level.
Yep.
Now it's just got to use it.
Yep. So today they play Maryland. Maryland, my Maryland.
Hey, preseason, this was a trap game to me.
Yeah?
Preseason, this was a complete trap game because Maryland's offense was explosive. Well, not as much anymore.
Got ya.
Julia's going through a bunch of injuries. For those of you who don't know who that is, that's their quarterback. Tua's brother. He was out for a few weeks. Last week he came back and he looked,
Yeah.
Their O-line's a little banged up. And Penn State's secondary is playing very well. Very, very well.
That they are.
So, how about you? What do you think?
Oh, I think Penn State covers. Hint. As of last night, the line went up to 10.5. With an over-under of 57. You might see that a little later, too. Hint. Maybe. The current line is still 10.5, and the over-under actually ticked down a half a point to 56.5. I mean, I don't see Penn State having much trouble with Maryland. You know, it could be their typical slow starting, and then they'll score once or twice, and then the rest of the half they'll look like crap. Yeah. And Maryland will score late in the half to make it look like a game, and then in the third and fourth quarter, the game will be over.
I think there could be a sneakily high score here.
A sneakily?
Sneakily. Like, you wouldn't think on paper maybe this wouldn't be a high-scoring game, but I could definitely see some sort of 40-20 kind of action.
A sneakily.
Sneakily. Yeah.
Is that Penn State English?
Yes.
Sneakily.
It's a word.
It is a word. Sure.
And I think we're going to see a lot of Drew again today. I think Penn State gets up to a big lead, and then Maryland might start to crawl it back, but it would be way too late. Once Penn State's up like a 42-7 kind of game, Drew's playing, all the backups are playing, they might score a couple touchdowns. Big deal.
Got ya.
It could be, with that scoreline, that means we'll get out of there nice and quick. Because it's supposed to get cold.
It's supposed to get cold.
I'm not looking forward to that part of the game. As long as it doesn't start raining.
Yeah.
Which it very well may.
They're saying scattered showers up there.
I mean, 2 p.m., 40%, 3 p.m., 60%, 4 p.m., 70%, 5 p.m., 70%. Awesome.
Those bastards scheduling a 3:30 game.
Here.
Yeah. You want to pack your rain gear again?
I don't want to pack my ring. I want to have a nice warm game.
Yeah. Well, you might want to go work for a school down in like Florida or something.
Maybe this game should have been last weekend, huh?
Last weekend would have been nice.
Where it was 75 and sunny in State College.
Yes. So this week's college schedule kind of sucks.
There's one decent game, maybe.
Is there?
Well, is Alabama Ole Miss a good game to you, or is it just kind of the battle of the two lost teams?
Alabama's a 12-point favorite. A 12-point favorite.
So?
A 12-point favorite.
What does that ever mean? Alabama's going to be a 12-point favorite against freaking Georgia for no reason whatsoever.
So that means it's not projected to be a good game, is what I'm saying. You have the number 4 team in the nation as a 7-point underdog today.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. Number 4 team, undefeated, going into 3-loss Texas? Are they 3-loss? Where's Texas on here? Oh. Yeah, 6-3 Texas. And you're going to tell me Texas is more than a touchdown favorite? And now it is a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It was 7.5 yesterday, now it's 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those. It's kind of like Tennessee, Georgia. It doesn't make no sense to me. I did win with Georgia. Speaking of Tennessee, Georgia, that game was very underwhelming.
It was. I turned it off, actually, and focused more on the Breeders' Cup last week.
Tennessee sucked. And I think they got proven to know who they are. And that also probably proves who Alabama is.
Yeah.
Alabama's weak.
So who is the top 6 this week? You have now Georgia vaulting from 3 to 1.
Number 6, we got Oregon.
Rightfully so. Number
5, Tennessee.
Yeah, okay.
Number 4, TCU.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Michigan.
Uh-huh.
Number 2, Ohio State. Number 1, Georgia.
Got you. So is it possible that 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams can make the playoffs?
No.
No? You don't see it happening?
No, because one of USC, Oregon, or UCLA is going to finish the season with 1 loss at a Pac-12 championship. I think that locks you in. If there was only an Oregon, maybe nobody gets in from the Pac, but with 3 teams vying up for the championship, one of them will win the championship.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how the Pac does their division.
So, well, the one good thing that the Pac is doing this year is what the Big Ten needs to do.
So they're just the top 2.
The top 2 go to the championship game.
Yeah, one of USC, Oregon, and UCLA is going to finish the season with 1 loss.
Maybe.
So, of all probability. So that puts them in. TCU, in my opinion, has to win out. They have to be undefeated to make it. If they lose once, they're done.
Agreed.
If LSU runs the table, they might sneak in, which would be horrendous. I think every Penn State fan should go storm wherever they make those decisions because that's bull crap.
Why?
Because Penn State had a very similar season in 2016 where they lost to a team they should have beat. LSU lost to Florida State week 1.
Yeah.
And then got murdered by another team.
Yeah.
A.k.a. Tennessee, or in Penn State's case, Michigan.
Yeah.
And then ran the table. Beat a top team. Penn State beat Ohio State, number 2 at the time. LSU beat Alabama.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to have to beat number 1.
Right, and right there's the difference. LSU will have beaten Alabama and Tennessee. I mean, I see your argument with 2 losses. I don't think they would get in even if they do win the conference championship, so it doesn't really matter.
They would.
I think with 2 losses, I mean, if you have an undefeated either Ohio State or Michigan team,
right?
If you have a 1-loss Tennessee team, we're assuming LSU beats Georgia, so if you have a 1-loss Georgia team, if you have a 1-loss Pac team, and unfortunately, if you have a 1-loss Clemson team.
Clemson has zero right to even be in that conversation.
I agree, but we're not in that committee room, and that committee room, for some reason, likes to get fucked in the ass by Clemson. They like Clemson's schwang for some reason. Let me put it this way. As weird as this is going to sound, I would think a 1-loss Ohio State team would get in over a 2-loss LSU team. Just like Ohio State did the year that they didn't win their conference championship.
Well, this goes back to the year where you mentioned... Well, this goes back to you mentioned could 2 Big Ten and 2 SEC teams make it? And where I was going is LSU would have to win out. Georgia's in as long as they're undefeated going into the SEC championship. I don't think it matters if they win.
Right.
Michigan would probably have to beat Ohio State by less than 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michigan would have to win the Big Ten, which should be, a walk in the park.
Yeah, that'll be simple. I mean, basically, I think like all 7 teams could still make it in the West. Except maybe for Northwestern.
But then you got to hope for a TCU loss. Ohio State probably makes it over Clemson, because Ohio State's more of the committee's child than Clemson is. Tennessee's out. Oregon, it'd come down to Oregon. Like, how much do they really take the week 1 50-point loss in the factor? Like, if Oregon played Georgia again, what would you think the score would be?
On a neutral field, Georgia by low double digits.
I was thinking something like 38-28.
That would be low double digits.
I mean, somewhere where I was, yeah.
That would be low double digits.
I think Georgia would dominate the game completely.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing Oregon's not seeing is a defense near to what they saw out of Georgia.
Well, I just read a stat to you right before the show. Georgia's defense in the last 21 games has given up regular season games. Has given up 17 touchdowns.
Yes.
The next best over that stretch is 36 touchdowns. This isn't even close. Georgia's defense is unbelievable.
Interesting, as I look at this, TCU, teams with the best chance to make the college football playoffs, TCU is 6th right now. Clemson is higher than they are. Tennessee is higher than they are. Michigan was 3rd, Ohio State was 2nd, and Georgia is 1st.
If TCU wins today, their 2 last games are Baylor and Iowa State. Those should be simple enough.
I wouldn't say that. Are either of them on the road?
Baylor is.
Weird stuff happens on the road late in the season.
But if they win today, they're going to... It's tough to know who they're going to face, since the Big 12 also does whatever.
Yeah.
The top 2 just go.
Yeah.
So then Baylor, if they win today, would be 5-2 in the division. Texas would be 4-3, and Kansas State would be 5-2 if they also win today. TCU has pretty much already guaranteed themselves to be in that game.
Sure. So does TCU win today?
I have no idea. I mean...
Dude, we do a sports show. Make a prediction.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, they don't win today.
So because of it's a line that you just can't explain.
It's so hard because like Texas goes and loses to Oklahoma State 2 weeks ago, who put up a goose egg against Kansas State, and then Texas goes and beats Kansas State. Like Texas doesn't make sense. Like they win games that they shouldn't win, and then they don't win games that they should win. Like I don't know what Texas wants to be. Like, are they good? Are they bad? Like power ranking wise, they're a top 10 team. They should be, but they're not. So do they win the game? Yeah, I'll give them it, but they're going to struggle to win the game.
Okay.
Because I think TCU maybe mentally is starting to think ahead. You know, you're in a position you've never been before, any of those athletes. And now you're like, oh, we have a chance to make the playoffs. And if we win this game, we're half the battle's already there. Because this is the hardest game left, of all probability. I mean, yeah, Baylor. But then Iowa State, that's, you can probably play your backups to win that game.
At the beginning of the season, Iowa State was projected to be pretty good.
They were really good last year and 2 years ago. But now they stink.
Yep.
Like Texas goose-egged Oklahoma. Now again, Oklahoma kind of sucks this year, but still goose-egged them. You don't goose-egg teams in the Big 12.
And they put up, 49 as well, or 56 or something?
49-0. Like, Texas almost beat Alabama when Alabama was number 1.
With their backup quarterback.
So it's like, I don't know what Texas wants to be. It'd be cool to see them good because apparently that used to be a big old thing and they were always really good.
Used to be a big old thing.
It's better than Oklahoma. It doesn't matter. They're going to move the SEC and get trashed for a few years till they learn to recruit some D.
Yeah.
So, what do you say? Who's winning that game?
TCU. I'm calling for the upset.
That just doesn't sound right.
I mean, although, whenever a line doesn't make sense, you always play into it.
Yeah, so that's telling you to take TCU because it makes no sense. But then you take Texas and you're probably going to win.
Right.
AKA Georgia, Tennessee. I didn't understand why they're a 9-point favorite or an 8.5. Took Georgia, covered easily.
Nope. So I'm taking TCU because I'd just like to see a couple different teams in the playoffs this year.
I would love TCU to win. I want to see something different. Now, in a way, I really want Ohio State and Michigan to make the playoffs.
Well, for one reason.
So Penn State can go to the Rose Bowl.
and get their ass kicked by USC.
They're not getting their ass handed to them by USC. That'd be a good game.
Actually,
I'd actually want them to play UCLA more.
Actually, they could wind up easily playing Oregon.
They could.
Now, that would be a good game.
Now, the problem is, if Oregon and USC are in the Pac-12 game, whoever loses that game finishes. Does that count for record or no? So, yeah, whoever loses that game probably goes to the Rose Bowl. Whoever wins that game's in the playoffs.
Maybe.
Because then, do you take a 1-loss UCLA team and put them in the Rose Bowl, or do you take a 2-loss whatever team? Yeah. That really becomes the question there.
Yeah.
I mean, Oregon in the Rose Bowl will be a better game than UCLA would be. Or USC in the Rose Bowl game. But I think either way, unless Penn State makes the Rose Bowl, if Penn State's in the Orange Bowl, you're going to see some players sit. Like Joey Porter is probably going to sit. Olu Fashanu is out for the season. He's done. Those are 2 top 15 draft picks. They don't want to play.
Yeah, the Orange Bowl is where you don't want to see Penn State in it because that game's going to be so freaking boring.
They're going to play. They probably play Clemson.
Clemson.
And Penn State would probably win that game. If they want to, that is. Because they're not going to have certain players. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Drew played a lot of that game.
No.
Screw Clifford. He can go sit.
No. Because it's going to be Clifford's last game. Because it's not like Sean Clifford is going to go to the NFL and play. So it's going to be his last game. And Franklin, has a man crush on him. You know what's going to end up happening? I'm going to tell you this right now. Clifford is going to wind up on Penn State's coaching staff. Is what's going to eventually end up happening. I'm not saying next year, but that's what's going to happen. You will see him on Penn State's coaching staff.
For one reason, but you don't know the reason. Sean Clifford owns Success with Honor. Success with Honor is Penn State's, or one of Penn State's NIL sources.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know the name of it, but I knew that, yeah. He
is the CEO of such a company, so he is going to stay in the area. And his job with the football team is going to be to get NIL stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be his job. Hopefully he doesn't end up on the coaching staff because he sucks.
Well, you don't know how he's going to be as a coach.
What's he going to be, the backup quarterback coach?
I mean, there's been many instances where the greatest players make god-awful coaches and bench players have made the best coaches. So now I'm switching sports. I'm talking about basketball. One of the best coaches ever to lace on coaching boots was Phil Jackson. He was a bench player, mostly for the Knicks. Magic Johnson sucked as a coach. Larry Bird had moderate success as a coach.
So you were going to say European soccer, where all these great players are coaches and they all suck.
Yes, because I really know all that.
They just suck. And the players that weren't very great in their prime are amazing coaches, except for Pep. Pep was good. Zidane was good. Like Jurgen Klopp. Wasn't much of a player.
Where the hell did he play?
I don't even know.
He doesn't look like he was a soccer player.
Does Pep look like he was a soccer player?
I could see that more. So, like, there's not even any interesting college football games to talk about today.
Come on!
I mean,
going to Indiana, Ohio State.
Yeah. Like, how bad is that Fox's kickoff show is going to Ohio State where they are a 40-point favorite?
Peg says good morning.
Hi, Pegs. I want my $2. $2. I mean, they're a 40-point favorite, and that's where they're going. Like they could have went to Wisconsin, Iowa. I mean, it's a 3:30 game, so they would have had to move the kickoff time. At least that's a pick'em. With an over under of 35.
I thought about taking the under in that game. I saw that, I'm like, ugh. Two decent defenses against two very incompetent offenses.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't go to Michigan this week and they have off.
Michigan plays Nebraska.
Like I said, they have off.
Okay.
I mean, what are they? Like, that game's at Nebraska, right?
No.
They're at home?
Yeah.
Like I said, they have off.
They could have went to Illinois, Purdue.
They could have.
That's a better game.
Like, seriously, why do they gotta show Michigan or Ohio State every single freaking week unless they go to a Big 12 game? If they go to a Big 10 game, they show Michigan or Ohio State every single freaking week. Seriously. You know how embarrassing that is? That you put your primetime show at a game where the spread is 40 freaking points?
Yeah, that's really bad.
I mean, at least Michigan's only a 30-point favorite.
30.5.
Sorry. I mean, come on. For the love of God. What's their What's their noon game on FX1? I'm sure that would be a better game. Let's look here. No, not really.
What's their game?
Oklahoma and West Virginia.
Woo! There you go.
Like I said, football sucks this year. And you know what? Pro football is just as freaking bad this year. Let's segue into pro football. It sucks.
Pro football's worse.
Pro football is god awful this year. The teams literally suck. You literally have 4 good teams in the NFC. 3.5. Pegs, I only put Minnesota in there because you're watching the show and I don't need you crying all freaking day.
Wait.
What?
You just gave the NFC 4 good teams?
Yes.
All right, wait. Philly?
Unfortunately.
Dallas?
Yeah?
The Giants?
No?
Oh, San Francisco.
San Francisco, even though their record doesn't show it yet.
And Minnesota, but they're about to be exposed today.
They don't play today.
Tomorrow.
You're thinking of the Golden Gophers?
5th string is playing. Minnesota gets embarrassed tomorrow. You know why? Because the Bills suck.
Because the Bills just lost to the Jets, Jets, fucking Jets last week. My team.
That was embarrassing.
I could finally come out of the shadows and say I'm a Jets fan.
Remember when I said preseason, do the Jets beat the Bills? Do they even have a chance? And you're like, what? No.
No. That was to win the division. Now they got a chance.
They can win the division.
They're tied.
That wasn't in Buffalo, though. They were in New York, right?
Yeah. What does that matter?
True, it is pro. It doesn't really matter so much. Hey, you can't give up Miami.
I mean, seriously, how many good teams is there in the AFC?
Well, let's go. Buffalo. The Jets. 3. And Kansas City?
Yeah, but I don't have the Jets in there as a good team.
Then Baltimore?
No.
Tennessee?
Nope. Cincinnati's
inconsistent.
They got injuries, my son. Non-genetically proven.
I told a buddy of mine at work that San Francisco's going to be in the Super Bowl, and he goes, he's a San Francisco fan. He goes, "The hell are you smoking?" he said he wanted some of whatever I was smoking. But I said, my dad thinks this. You watch. I mean, the Eagles are going to get frauded at some point. There is at some point where the Eagles, maybe not in the regular season, where they're going to lose by 20. And it's going to be funny.
If they lose by 20, it's to only one of 2 teams. Well, there is a third team now that can be. I keep saying the Eagles are going to be 15-2, 15-2, 15-2. They're going to lose to Dallas when they go to Dallas, and they're going to lose to the Giants on the last game of the season because the Eagles are not going to be playing their starters much.
You have them beating Tennessee.
Tennessee could beat them. Tennessee could certainly beat them.
Derrick Henry is going to get over 120 yards. He's going to run it down their throat.
I mean, Tennessee's defense is coming on strong. I mean, look, they were on the field for 91 snaps last week against Kansas City. Kansas City threw that ball 68 times last week.
That's a lot of throws.
And Tennessee was starting a journeyman rookie quarterback that was making his first road start, I believe, or second road start, whatever. And they were right in, like, Tennessee didn't move the ball at all in the second half. They had, 0.4 yards in the second half. And they still almost won the game. You knew the game was over as soon as, once again, Kansas City got the ball first in overtime. For some reason, Kansas City always seems to get the ball first in overtime.
Very true.
I don't know why. But yes, I mean, there's 3.5 good teams in the NFC, 3 good teams in the AFC. There's some decent teams. Like, I would put the Giants in there as a decent team. I would put the Jets in there as a decent team for once, although they could easily lose the next 18 games.
Seattle.
I would put Baltimore in there. Seattle, you don't know how the hell they're doing it.
This is true. Geno Smith has been, a career backup.
Yeah.
And he looks like a top 3 quarterback right now. He's freaking balling.
Yeah. I mean, look at the team that won the Super Bowl last week. They didn't even try to win that game against Tampa Bay. Their last 2 drives, now I listened to it on the radio. I didn't watch the game because I was driving home from what I do on Sundays. I saw my hookers. I see them on Sundays. Pimping ain't easy. They didn't even, they were playing prevent defense with Tom Brady, letting Tom Brady just have free 10, 15 yards down the field. They didn't even try to win that game on that final defensive drive. They didn't even try. That wound up costing me some money.
Another team in the NFC. The good old Green Bay Packers.
Oh, Green Bay sucks.
Can't even score. You're a 2-time MVP. 2 of the last 3 years, he's in the last 2. And you go into the trade deadline, go get somebody. Go get somebody. Every other team in your division made a good move. Every other one. And you're asleep in the freaking corner. You can't even get a half-decent receiver. It doesn't have to be a good receiver. Go get someone like a freaking Rashad Bateman, who at least can catch the ball. It doesn't have to be anybody. You don't have to go get Tyreek Hill or Waddle or.
They could have got Claypool. Who ended up going to Chicago?
Yeah.
And that I didn't understand. Chicago trades away some of their best defenders and then makes a trade for a wide receiver. I didn't quite understand that.
That would have been a great pickup for the Packers. He probably could have got him for a 2nd-round pick. He's not great, but he's a viable option to throw to. That just shows how the Packers don't want Aaron Rodgers there anymore. They just don't want him there. Get out. He's going to end up in San Francisco or Tampa Bay.
I still say, just like last year. Last year I said Tom Brady comes out of retirement and plays for San Francisco. I think he goes there next year. I don't think this is his last year. I think he's having a sucky year and he does not want to go out like this. I think you see Tom Brady either in a San Francisco uniform next year or a Vegas Raider uniform next year.
Green Bay.
Actually, he will not go play in Green Bay.
I do not want Tom Brady anywhere near the Packers. But the Packers need to do something, and honestly, I hope they garbage time themselves and end up getting themselves a decent quarterback. The problem is, who they get? Freaking Will Levis, and I don't want that Will.
You have no faith in Jordan Love, I see, huh?
No. Who does? He sucks.
Got it.
And Will Levis is going to go 3rd off the board for quarterbacks.
So let's do something called the Phatts Phantastic Phive. We do this to wrap up the show on our sports shows. It's where we give you our top picks of the week. Guess how many we pick?
7.
5? Maybe. Maybe. So let's review last week's picks.
Shower.
And I'm looking to see if someone is watching the show, and apparently they're not, because this would be funny.
It would be funny, but somebody's asleep.
Yeah, it's too early for them. So apparently the non-genetically proven son did not make his own picks last week.
I did not. I let my girlfriend, who knows nothing about football, make these picks. I had to explain to her what all these minuses and pluses mean.
Yeah.
And she still didn't understand what they meant.
Yeah.
She picked certain games because their number was lower.
Okay.
So we picked Georgia.
Yeah. So There's a neat little story that the non-genetically proven son is going to tell in a minute. In a minute. But it looks like the girlfriend went 4-1.
The girlfriend did go 4-1.
I mean, she sucked on the Ohio State pick. Ohio State didn't even score 38 points in the game. I mean, they played in a windstorm.
Yeah, and C.J. Stroud couldn't pass the ball worth crap.
Right. Now, Michigan needed a really big second half. They were losing at halftime.
Rutgers.
We'll be there. We will be there in the stadium next week. We should do our show from the parking lot next week. Sure. If there was a way that I could rig all this stuff up, that I had the money to do this,
do a tailgating pre-show.
We would do our show from the Rutgers parking lot next week.
We will be in Piscataway, New Jersey on November 19th. Woo! Also my birthday.
Yeah, we usually do a birthday show.
We will probably be doing that Friday night.
Well, we'll see.
We'll do something Friday night.
We'll see. I would love to be able to do our show from the parking lot of Rutgers University next week. That would be cool.
Would be funny.
That would be cool. If someone out there knows how to help us with that, I mean, all I got to do is be able to get, you know what? We could do the show.
I don't know if we could do it in this form. I think we can do it on our phone.
No, I need electricity. If I have electricity, we could do the show.
We could do it on our phone and just like Facebook live stream it.
Yeah, but no. If we had electricity, I could do the show because I have a way to get the internet through this computer outdoors.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, all I need is an electricity. If someone knows how to get me electricity from Rutgers parking lot, I don't know what parking lot we're parking in yet.
Neither do I, and I'm the one that's getting the parking pass.
It's good to know someone in the press. That's all I'm gonna say. now that the non-genetically proven son is part of the press.
Woo! I'm part of the mob that nobody who plays likes.
So she went 4-1 last week. I mean, Georgia, I know you like Tennessee. That's what made me think something was up, that all of a sudden you flipped around, like, and not even like you didn't decide not to take Tennessee. You ended up going the other way and taking Georgia.
With my explanation, she goes, you bullshitted that so badly. She knew I love Tennessee. And she's like, give me Georgia. And I'm like, I hate that pick. That LSU, I love that pick.
Yes.
I liked LSU to potentially win the game outright, which they did.
And they did.
The best call I've seen all year.
Yep.
You're at home, you're playing the number 3 team in the nation, and you go for 2 to win the game.
That's right.
Why the hell not? You had nothing else to lose.
That's right. Roll the dice.
And it was a perfect play call.
Yep.
And then Tennessee, 12 points, that's way too many for the NFL. For a good team.
Although, again, that game scared me with Tennessee starting their backup quarterback who, has no experience whatsoever.
True.
Kansas City coming off a bye. They always play good off of a bye. But yeah, so there's a story behind this 4-1.
Yeah, there is.
Tell us this story.
So, I told my girlfriend, go down the list and pick games that you like. First game, she says.
First game. Penn State.
Huh? Penn State. They were minus 14.5 or 13.5. And
yeah.
I told her, no, I don't want that. I don't trust them. Well, lo and behold, Penn State won by what, 28?
And she changed that pick to who?
Ohio State.
Uh-huh.
So she says, if I let her pick Penn State, which I did bet, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So she ended up 5-1 at the end of the week.
Yeah.
She says she wouldn't have picked Ohio State, and I would have been 5-0.
So, wait a minute. Was Ohio State then her first pick or her last pick?
It was the pick after Penn State.
And Penn State was her first pick?
Yes.
So, the chances are she still would have taken Ohio State.
The order that these are in is the order she took them.
Okay. Okay.
So that's what I said. I'm like, you still picked Ohio State second.
Uh-huh.
He says she wouldn't have picked them if she let me choose Penn State. Wouldn't have picked them. Wouldn't have picked them. I'm like, whatever you say.
So there's a chance that you could have went 5-0.
Yes, there's a chance I could have went 5-0.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
This is our third season doing this, right?
Right.
Have you ever gone 5-0?
No.
No. You did go 4-0-1 just a couple weeks ago.
You went 5-0 once in 3 seasons.
Right. We have a better chance on this show of going 0-5.
I think we have 2 or 3 of those.
Than we do going 5-0. But that's what betting is like. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to lose every game than to win every game. As weird as that sounds, it really is a lot easier to lose than to win.
You would think if you're just going to pick lines, it's 50-50. But it never is.
Yes.
Never, ever is.
Yes. All right. So you managed to go 4-1. Let's look at my picks from last week. I believe I went 3-2.
All right.
Oregon State, Washington over 54. I got hosed out of that game.
It didn't switch.
Oh. Might help if I press the button.
Yeah.
Oregon State, Washington over 54. I got hosed out of that game. The team started to score points in the fourth quarter, and they have their stadium lights where when Washington scores, the lights start to flash, like stadiums do now. And they started to flash, and then they didn't come back on. So there was a 25-minute delay. I watched this game till like 2:30 in the morning, by the way. There was a 25-minute delay to get the lights to come back on, and then after that, the teams scored a combined 3 points.
Good.
Yeah, I got hosed out of that game. LSU team total over 20.5. That was a win. Penn State minus 13.5. That was a win. My favorite play of the week was Indianapolis team total under 17.5. They scored 3. Bill Belichick facing a rookie quarterback on the road. That was easy. And I lost on Atlanta's team total over 23.5. They looked putrid against the team that usually gives up points in the Chargers. So let's look at the non-genetically proven son's picks for this week. He has Mississippi plus 12.
Yeah. Two lost Alabama.
Yeah.
On the road, going to Ole Miss. That's a lot of points.
That is a lot of points.
Favored for a team that probably doesn't care anymore.
That is a lot of points for a team that's sucked on the road this year. By sucking, I mean not winning by a lot, and they've lost a couple as well. Maryland, Penn State over 57. I'm a little iffy about this pick. I know you said you think this is going to be a surprisingly high-scoring game.
I'm not sure Maryland's defense can stop Penn State, and I think Maryland will catch a few good drives, and they'll score 20.
My question is going to be, what is the weather going to be like? If you get out there in the tundra of Beaver Stadium and it's really windy, where it could be a crosswind, you're in trouble with that. If the wind is going, with the field.
I'll tell you right now, if it's windy, it will be a crosswind.
Okay.
It'll be from west to east, which is not with the field. That is from behind the press box to the field.
So are you saying the field sits more north-south?
Yes, the field does sit north-south.
Got it.
And the wind up there is always west to east. Always. Every single time. Because there's a disc golf hole that faces straight west, and it's uphill, and it's always into a headwind. It sucks.
Well, I guarantee you if you played yesterday, you would not have had a west wind. You would have had a south wind yesterday.
That's why it was warm.
You have Saquon Barkley over 93.5 rushing yards.
Facing the worst rushing defense in the league in Houston, Saquon seems to run for over 100 yards almost every game. He will do the same. And he will score me lots of fantasy points.
You're going to need them.
No crap.
Buffalo -3. Don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be yet.
Yeah, and I kind of wish I knew that. But they're playing the fraudulent Vikings. So they're coming off a piss water loss to the Jets. They're gonna step it up this week. Could be a low scoring game, especially if Allen's not playing.
Yeah.
But they'll come.
By the way, for those of you that like to bet early in the week, you could have got Minnesota at +8.5 or 9 on Monday.
That's a lot.
Yeah. On Tuesday, it was still like 6.5. And your last game, which might be my favorite play of all yours, might, keyword. Actually, it's not, but okay. Green Bay team total under 19.5.
Green Bay sucks. They can't score. They definitely can't score in the second half. And they're playing, might be the best defense in the league in Dallas.
Certainly one of the best.
They are in Green Bay. So if it's cold, that can make a small difference. But I don't think it matters. Green Bay couldn't even score 20 against freaking Washington. So what the hell? How are they going to score 20 against Dallas?
Yes.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is done with Green Bay. I think, honestly, I kind of hope they tank this year so they can get a half-decent quarterback pick. That's not Will Levis. Even though Will Levis is a good pocket passer, I'll give him that. He's a very pro-style quarterback.
Actually, don't be surprised when Aaron Rodgers is your starting quarterback next season.
I hope they got a couple receivers.
No one's going to want to pick up his contract. He
True,
gets paid a lot next year.
Green Bay.
Well, there's some, it's a historical place to play.
Do you want to play in Green Bay in February?
Well, they don't play in February, but okay.
All right, January.
Well, that means you're in the playoffs and playing a home game, so that's not bad either.
It also means it's probably about -15.
Yeah, could get a little cold. A little cold.
A little
cold. All right, so you have Mississippi +12, Maryland, Penn State over 57, Saquon to rush for over 93.5 yards, Buffalo -3, and Green Bay team total under 19.5. Now let's look at my plays. And why I said Green Bay team total under 19.5 might be one of my favorite plays is because we actually do agree on a play.
Woo.
All right, so here's we usually don't agree. I have Tennessee -19.5 over Missouri.
I like this play.
Tennessee coming off of being embarrassed last week. They go home. They know they're going to have to look good the next couple weeks of the season if they want any chance of getting into the playoffs.
I like this pick. It was one that I saw, I wasn't comfortable with that many points.
Yes, I think they could win this game by 40 today.
I feel like you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't think they take their foot off the gas until midway through the fourth quarter in this game. I'm sticking with Penn State.
You have a lot of faith in Penn State.
I do have a lot of faith in Penn State. I'd rather be given 9.5 than 10.5. I'll be the first to admit that.
If it starts raining, that could come into question.
Yeah.
Because Penn State looked great in the rain against Northwestern.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But, see, where you think it's going to be a high-scoring game, I don't think Maryland's going to put up that many points in this game. I could see like a 37-13 kind of game is what I'm thinking. But who knows? The game we agree on, Mississippi +12. Too many points. Alabama's, they got to figure they are not going to the playoffs. Even if LSU were to lose today to Arkansas and somehow a 2-loss Alabama team gets into the SEC championship game, even if they win the SEC championship, they shouldn't make the playoffs. A lot of weird things would have to happen for them to get in. So, like come bowl time, whatever Alabama's bowl is in, you play against them because they're not going to care. whatsoever.
They're going to end up at the Sugar or the other one in Florida.
Yeah. Well, they might not even end up in the Sugar Bowl.
The other one in Florida, I can't remember
the Citrus Bowl.
Citrus, yeah.
Where they could end up playing a Penn State team.
If Penn State wins the rest of the way and is in the Citrus Bowl, I'd literally be pissed. Because I wouldn't be going to the Citrus Bowl.
I tell you what.
All
right, fine. Let me ask you this question. Let's just assume both Ohio State and Michigan do not make the playoffs. So
both don't make the playoffs.
No, one doesn't. So let's just assume for a second Ohio State beats Michigan by 20. Michigan winds up going to the Rose Bowl. Do you want Penn State to go to the Orange Bowl and play Clemson, or the Citrus Bowl to play Alabama?
Which one I have a better chance to go to.
But which would you rather see?
If I could go to both, Alabama. Because then I could put really good pictures of Nick Saban. That would be good for the portfolio.
There you go.
It's better than Dabo Swinney.
I don't know. That would be good for the portfolio, too.
But Nick Saban.
But, again, we're talking about what would you rather see. I'm not talking about taking pictures of a stupid coach.
Alabama, because that'd be much better for Penn State's recruiting as well.
Yes, because when Penn State would beat them, because Alabama's not going to care. They're going to have a bunch of players sit out. Blah, 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 blah.
Penn State would, too. Their two best players would sit out. Well, one already doesn't have much of a choice. You know?
Yeah.
But Joey Porter would probably sit out.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if he could.
All right, and then I have 2 pro games this week. This is my favorite play of the week.
All right.
How many times in my life have I said Chicago Bears are my favorite play of the week?
Especially when you have an Ohio State quarterback at the helm.
Yes.
Against one of the better offenses in the league.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
You want to pull up Detroit's scores this year? Please do. Please do.
All right.
Please do, and find me how great of an offense they are.
35 points.
Yeah.
36 points.
Yep.
24.
Yep.
45.
Yep. And then what?
None.
Yep. And then
6.
What? Yep. And then what?
27.
And then?
9. No,
Yeah.
15. 15. They beat the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah. Started out really good. Started out good.
I get a lot of points because Jared Goff is at the helm because Lamar Jackson's on a bye.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. Now, let me ask you this. Let's look up Chicago's points. And you'll see the reverse.
Yeah, they're the opposite.
They're the exact opposite. So go ahead.
19.
Yep.
10.
Yep.
23.
Yep.
12.
Yep.
22.
And then?
7.
And then?
33.
And then?
29.
And then?
32.
Yeah. And now I got a home team who's playing actually really good. Justin Fields just set a record, by the way, last week.
The only Ohio State quarterback to ever be good?
Most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game.
Would he have over 100?
170 some.
170? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do the Dolphins play no spy? Hello? Where's your middle linebacker?
Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, the Bears found something. Detroit, coming off of a big win at Green Bay, now got to go on the road. Nah, they're not winning this game. And I'm giving less than a field goal. That's what I like. If it's 3.5, I don't like it nearly as much. At 2.5, I love this play.
As long as Jared Goff has 340 yards and 4 touchdowns, I don't really care.
Yeah, and he may not play either. You may have more quarterbacks out. We both have quarterbacks out this week.
So both my quarterbacks could be out. What? I didn't know this.
And then my last pick is Vegas. Now this isn't
questionable.
Wow.
He's healthy.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I hope for your sake he plays.
He's projected at 33 points.
There you go.
That's good.
Okay. And then my last pick is Vegas. Now, this isn't a pick on Vegas as much as it is against Indianapolis. Indianapolis fired Frank Reich and hired Jeff Saturday.
I don't even know who that is.
He used to be their center. He has no coaching experience at all. None. Never. Never coached like a midget football team, from what I understand. And you bring him in as your head coach
in the NFL. Was he at least a good center?
Yeah, he was good.
Okay.
Yeah, not that matters.
How
in the hell? Like, if you think Denver's coaching staff is bad, I mean, it's like every week either Carolina or Indianapolis is firing somebody on their coaching staff. It's like, if Vegas, who has blown the most double-digit leads this year, even more than Baltimore, if Vegas gets up by double digits, like, I don't see how Indy comes back in this game. I don't see it. Like, and they looked putrid last week. Now, again, it was against Bill Belichick. But, and whatchamacallit, I don't think is playing. They're a running back.
Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, I think he's out too. Like,
I hate Indy for fantasy because I have their best wide receiver who sits on the bench. Because they can't throw the ball.
So my plays are Tennessee minus 19.5, Penn State minus 10.5, Mississippi plus 12, Chicago minus 2.5, Vegas minus 5. I got a lot of favorites. I usually don't play a lot of favorites.
Yeah, I know. You usually like to play the underdog.
I like underdogs. I've learned over many years of betting to like underdogs more than favorites. And there is a lot of underdogs that I do like this week. But that is this week's Phatts Phantastic Phive. Let's see here. Let's get rid of the graphic. I mean, just looking at the pro football lines, I could tell you who I like in every game, or at least most of them. And I could tell you the picks that almost made the board. Seattle almost made the board, plus 2.5. Buffalo, Minnesota, I don't have an opinion on that game right now because I don't know about the starting quarterback. Kansas City, Jacksonville. Now that's going to be a high-scoring game. It's which I would take Jacksonville getting that many points, getting 9. I already told you I love the Bears. Miami, Cleveland. That's going to be another high-scoring game. I almost took the over in that game. I like Cleveland getting 3.5. A lot. Giants, Houston. The line is 5. I don't see how the line is only 5. I like the Giants. Tennessee, Denver. This game kind of scares me because I would really like to play Tennessee minus the 3, but they just played 91 defensive snaps last week. We saw that with Buffalo earlier this year, and it didn't turn out too well for them after that. Pittsburgh, New Orleans. I will take Pittsburgh getting the points coming off of a bye. Raiders, Indy, I already told you. That line is actually down now to 4.5 this morning. Dallas, Green Bay, that line's down to 4.5. This line confuses the living hell out of me. I want to take Dallas, but with the line is telling you something there. The Rams, Cardinals. You don't know if the Rams starting quarterback is playing. You don't know if the Cardinals starting quarterback is playing. What I do know is McVay owns Arizona. They're like 10-1 regular season against them or something like that. San Francisco and the Chargers. I will take San Francisco all day long, even laying a touchdown. Eagles, Commanders. I don't like that game at all.
What are the Eagles laying?
11.
That's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points. All right, so we went 5 minutes over, so we're going to wrap this up. I wanted to be done by 11. You got to get ready to go to a football game.
I do. Yay.
Well, better than sitting home watching crappy college football today. Like I'll be doing.
Although the Penn State crowd's probably going to be very lame after the last 2 home games. A little hard to top whiteout at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And you're coming up with Maryland like you beat.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's 59-0. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yep.
At least we didn't cancel classes on a Friday for it.
Okay. All right, so we'll be back on Tuesday with our political show. We will have recap of the elections, and I got a lot to say.
Hey, I feel like this could be an absolute shit show.
I got a lot to say about the state of the Republican Party.
and Arizona, who still can't count 100,000 votes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see you Tuesday night at 7. All right. For all of us here at Phatts TV, one of these days I'll go down to all the names of the people that help us make this happen. What a crew I got. All right. From all of us to all of you, make it till Tuesday at 7. Please survive. We need the viewership. See ya!